Hey everyone, it's Alyssa from Tax Valet. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about 2025. Not to recap every sales tax related change, but to reflect on what this year actually felt like for sellers and what I think it could be telling us as we head into 2026. In all honesty, and I don't say this lightly, outside of the year 2018, when the Wayfair decision changed everything, 2025 was likely one of the most chaotic years I've seen in sales tax. And it's not because of one massive change like we saw in 2018, but because of how many things were happening all at once. States continued expanding what they consider taxable, especially around digital products, services. We've seen states enact laws around sales tax on digital advertising. Enforcement got louder and faster, and layered on top of that, there was so much uncertainty around tariffs, and that made costs harder to predict for businesses. For a lot of businesses, it felt like the rules just kept shifting while you were still trying to play the game. And if planning felt harder for you this year, or if you felt like you were constantly reacting instead of moving intentionally, that makes a lot of sense. There wasn't a lack of effort or awareness on your part. That was the environment in which we were all operating. What 2025 made clear for me is that sales tax must show up much earlier and more often in business decisions than it used to. When I look ahead to 2026, I want to be really honest about something. I don't think the complexity is going away. I don't think enforcement will slow down. And I don't think sales tax, unfortunately, I don't think sales tax is suddenly going to get easier across the board. But after a year like 2025, it is worth noticing the small moments where things feel maybe a little more human. Illinois, for example, just removed the transaction count requirement. Other states have done this as well. Obviously, it doesn't fix everything, but it does acknowledge that activity in a state alone shouldn't automatically create compliance pressure. Indiana, they're working towards offering a tax amnesty program later this year. This opportunity could give businesses a chance to reset without feeling punished for trying to do the right thing. And Washington is opening a voluntary disclosure path for international sellers starting in February. I know these aren't sweeping reforms. They don't change the overall landscape or reality, but they are reminders that there are opportunities to move forward thoughtfully, even in a system that's super complex and still very challenging. Complexity doesn't mean you're behind. It just means the system's evolving and you're working to navigate it in real time. And if you ever need a place to think through any of this more calmly, that's the kind of work we spend a lot of time doing. My hope is that this helps you feel a little more oriented as you navigate what comes next.